a princess! A wicked witch of the east, bro! You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong?
Nice.
All right, fuck it. We are live. And we have a new special guest. Welcome to the podcast, Samuel Anthony Vituli.
What is up? How are we?
I'm good, dude.
Thanks for having me on, of course.
Absolutely. Well, we need to have somebody on. I'm sure everyone that listens to this podcast is either around the Houston area or knows somebody from the Houston area. And we have been a city without power.
Right.
As a city that provides a shit ton of power,
right.
We suck at providing power to the people that live in the city that provides all of the power.
Yeah, my mom told me apparently the CEO of Centerpoint makes like $25 million a year. But
yeah, something crazy.
Yeah, and he's some fat fuck too. Like he's huge.
So there's a I'll pull him up, but it's his name's Jason, and I think
so is this like gone around? Is this like in the news? This guy?
Yeah, dude. Have you seen like the Mattress Mac guy going off on him too?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, let me pull this up because this is hilarious.
I did see that Mattress Mac was with the governor signing a bill though, like about this. So I'm assuming he's been like probably pushing it, would be my guess.
Check this out.
All right.
People eating every day. And we did that because it's the right thing to do. Then Centerpoint's thinking, we don't want to spend the money. We want to make a lot of bottom line so our execs can get paid. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Centerpoint. All of us, we don't summer in Aspen. We summer in. These are my people coming in here crying because they're hot and they're miserable and they're dying. These are the people that hospitals sent out here that needed a heart rate charger for their hearts. Otherwise, they were going to die. These are real people, mothers coming in here breastfeeding their children because it's so stifling hot at home. And the executives at Center Pointless don't get that. Put the people before
Center
the
Pointless.
product. I want to thank these three men up here and countless first responders, men and women all over our city and county, and all the hardworking people who've worked.
Dude is just
that guy has a one-way ticket straight to heaven, by the way. He's bypassing whatever middle ground there is and just straight in.
Yeah,
that guy's awesome.
Yeah, dude, I've been loving it. And so anyway, we got rocked by a fucking hurricane down here.
Right.
A lot of people have been without power. One of those is our co-host on the show, Kyle Kirk.
Right.
And Julian John Baptiste is now in summer camp, so we'll start getting in some good millsaps live from summer camp. Cannot wait for a couple millsaps
for the purple and white. The purple and white.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I've never been so involved in D3 football until this year, so I'm excited to see where that goes.
It's gonna be sweet.
So, while those two jabronis are gone off the podcast for the day,
guess what we could talk about?
Me and Sammy get to talk about golf. Let's go. People are gonna be pissed, but guess what, motherfuckers? While those boys are gone, me and Sammy get to do whatever we want.
Exactly. Hey, and I don't interrupt you.
Thank God, because I'll be on here.
You.
There'll be some times on this show where I'll be like, I'll have a really good point to make, and I can never bring it up because Kyle's dumbass is always rambling on about some stupid shit. So I'm sure he's gonna listen to this and really.
He's gonna be so bad.
Yeah, he's gonna be pissed. But I'll let Kyle. Once we can get Kyle back on the show, I'll give him a good 10-minute rant and just whatever he wants, uninterrupted nonsense that comes out of his mouth.
Perfect.
Yeah, anyway, so we've got the British Open coming up, and for those that don't know, this is the last major championship tournament of the year, and one of my personal favorites, and actually I need to give a lot of props to Sam for getting me on to this tournament because it's a lot of fun. And Sam, my first question to you is, as a person that actually watches golf and a person on this podcast, and I can ask this question to, what are you most excited for the British Open? And we'll start there. What are you most excited for the Open?
So I believe the last winner from Troon, if I'm not mistaken, was Henrik Stenson.
Correct.
So it's been a while since it's been here, and I actually really, really like this course. I vaguely remember watching that Open, and I think when I knew Henrik Stenson was going to win, I didn't really care that much because at the time he was like he was a known name, obviously, but it's just like I don't know. I wasn't like that excited. But the course is freaking sweet.
It is.
It's
sick.
a super sweet course. Like aside from probably, I would say top 3 Open courses in my opinion are obviously St. Andrews, Carnoustie, and then Troon. I think are like the top 3 on the rotation. So I'm very pumped about that. And I have like a feeling that like an Englishman is probably going to win.
They need someone from Europe to bring home a British Open. The last time that they had it here was in 2016. Henrik Stenson won, and that was before I even followed golf. But Phil Mickelson and Henrik Stenson just ran away from everybody, and that was an old. If you're somehow motivated now to get into golf, go watch that. It was Phil and Henrik just basically battling it out for 2 straight days, Saturday and Sunday, and ran away with the tournament. They were like, I think 17 under at one point, and then the third place guy was at 7 under.
Yeah.
It was insane. But anyway, for those that don't follow golf a lot, the reason that this tournament is so exciting is because you get to see a different style of golf where it's like you're hitting a ball in 20, 30 mile an hour winds, pissing rain just all over you.
Right.
The defense of the course is the weather. And so this is always a fun tournament for me. I like to get up and watch the whole thing. They do play in Scotland for this one. So the time difference will be 7 hours. So you'll get to get up first thing in the morning and check your phone, see who's winning, and then hop on the TV and check it out. So
right.
Yeah,
I mean, the other part of the Open that's cool is like honestly, childhood memories are like I remember like my dad waking up at 2-3 a.m. and watching it. I like come downstairs to get like water or something and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh right, I forgot. Like this is when this starts."
Yeah.
So it's so fun. It's so fun, and they're usually, I feel like, and I don't remember what the score was last year, but they're typically like high single digits to 15 under is typically like the end score. So I'm like when I'm a fan of whenever a golf tournament end score is like that. Like I loved when, I forget what year it was, but like when Tiger won the US Open and it was like he was obviously like way ahead, but then like second place was like 1 over. Like I find that that golf way more fun than when guys are just shooting like 61 every day.
I agree, and it's because when scores are like that, it means the conditions are harder, and at any point in time, someone can lose the tournament like on a single golf shot. And
like I'm surprised at how low the score was at Pinehurst, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree. I think going into this, and we'll get into it, but because we'll talk like favorites, we'll get into bets, all that stuff. But just like the storylines kind of coming into this, for those that have been following along with our golf talk on this show, we've talked a lot about Scotty Scheffler. We've talked a lot about obviously Rory McIlroy coming in off of the last time he was playing was at the US Open when he absolutely choked, and I'm still upset about that to this day.
Yeah.
So we got that storyline. We've got Bryson DeChambeau coming back he's a great pick this week too. And then a couple other guys. But the first guy I wanted to ask you about, Sam, because I know you're a huge fan, is I saw a couple videos of Eldrick hitting some sick stingers out there.
And he physically looks good. Like I feel like the first 3 majors he looked not chunky, but like bigger. He looks like a little thinned out, healthier. The course is going to kick his butt. So like I imagine by the end of round 2 he'll be limping. But I agree, the videos looked good. I thought he looked good.
What are your expectations on Tiger?
I mean, I say this this year. I've said it. Like I'm literally never counting the guy out of winning until he hangs it up. Realistically, I actually feel comfortable with like a top 40. Like I would bet top 40.
Like make the cut?
I think he not easily. I think he for sure makes the cut. And if he does make the cut, I could see him like working his way into a top 40.
I would love that.
I would feel. I feel like it's a stretch to say a top 20, but
did you see there? I think it was Colin Montgomery, and he was talking about how Tiger.
Yes, I did see that. That
needs
quote
to
was
hang
hilarious.
It up. And Tiger gets on. He's like, "Well, Colin Montgomery's never won a British Open, so he doesn't get to talk." Like, blah blah.
Well,
blah.
so they go like I don't know how much you know about like their history, but like when Tiger was younger, like in his first Ryder Cups, they typically went up against each other. Like it was typically like on the 4-man, it was like Tiger and somebody versus Colin, and typically like Patrick Harrington or like one of those guys. So they like have dueled for like quite a while, like back in Colin's heyday.
And isn't he like 60 something?
He's so old.
Now?
He's so old. Like he was old back then. Yeah, he's so old.
Crazy.
And he was. I only knew of him honestly like as a kid because he was like one of the few English guys on like the Tiger Woods golf game. Like honestly, he was like one of the few. Like he was like a guy that was like I don't know who that is, but
I'll play with him. Fuck it.
Yeah, why not?
Cool. Okay, so aside from Tiger now, let's get into some contenders, people that you think can actually win this thing. Give me your top 3 guys that if you had to place a bet on it going into the tournament. Here's two separate questions.
Okay.
Going into the weekend, going in on Thursday, like before the tournament starts, give me 3 guys that you think can legitimately win, and then say separately if there's a guy that makes the cut that's like kind of threatening, who's a guy that could be a sleeper pick on the weekend. Granted, he makes the cut and is in a good position that like people might want to bet. Okay,
so one of my 3 is solely based on how he played last week, but I love Adam Scott this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to play really well. He knows how to play courses like that, as shown as last week. He's been kind of like sneaky, just like hanging around all year, you know? Like he's been in the news. He's just kind of been there. I think he's obviously one of the older guys on tour now. He's been around for a long time. But I think this is like his 93rd straight major to play in or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is an insane stat. Like that's
crazy.
That's a ridiculous stat.
For those listening, you can get Adam Scott right now to win the tournament at plus 6,500.
It's actually not that bad.
Which is
I thought it would have been in the plus like 10,000 range, so that's not bad.
I mean, a $10 bet would win you $660.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So
Adam Scott? Adam Scott, I liked him. I really like Tommy Fleetwood.
Yep.
This week, and I just think he's like there's a group of guys that I feel like this about, but like definitely in the he's just due for a major group. Like he's in there. Like I put him like Sahith, Max Homa, like that group of guys that haven't won yet. Like a lot of them I think are just due for a major. But he more than anyone I do feel like, and he obviously growing up in this part of the country, I think he could make a move. And then I texted you earlier, but I think Jason Day is an interesting, fun pick. He's historically done pretty well at Open Championships. I think
T2 last year.
He was T2 last year, and then the 2 previous years he missed the cut. But then like his 4 previous before that, he was typically like hung around top 25, somewhere in there. So he plays these courses really well. And I think he's had a sneaky good year, like kind of just hung around. Yeah. Typically like first day, he's always like first day leaderboard. So those are my 3 that I really like this week.
You can get those listening. You can get Jason Day at plus 10,000, and you can get Tommy Fleetwood at plus 2,200. So,
wow, Tommy Fleetwood's at plus 2,200.
Plus 2,200. He's plus 230. Plus 230 for top 10.
Is Scotty the best odds right now?
Yeah, so it's Scotty at plus 450, Rory at plus 850, Xander at plus 1,100, and then Ludwig at plus 1,600.
Oh, also, I preface these 3 picks with you obviously put Scotty. Like Scotty could easily win that. Like I think he's just like it's an automatic. Like he could win. These are just the other people.
Yeah.
And then the other question was somebody if they make the cut.
If they make the cut and are in a good spot in the weekend that you think could and this maybe not somebody that you would bet beforehand, but if you see them on Saturday or Sunday, that's towards the top of the leaderboard, you wouldn't be surprised if they won.
If I saw.
I have one.
If I
you.
saw, honestly, I know he wanted to call. If I saw Cam Smith at 8,
yeah, that's
going
a good
into
one.
the weekend, I could see him making a run and winning it.
I like that. I was gonna say for someone to make the weekend and is in a good spot. If Brooks finds his way onto the leaderboard on the weekend, watch because he's played decent golf in the majors. And I think it's just 1 or 2 days that he has either early that kind of fuck him over. He's good enough, dude, and he's due for a good performance. So I think if you look at Brooks Koepka going into the weekend and he's around the top 10, I think that's a good bet.
Yeah,
that's a good bet.
I like that. And then I will say I would love to pick this guy. I'm just not a fan of picking guys to win back-to-back tournaments. I love Robbie Mack. I think he could win, but I just it's hard to win literally back-to-back weeks, especially when it's a major.
Imagine
Scotty's the only guy I can think of that can do that this year.
Imagine if Robbie Mack just completes the Scotland sweep. So,
dude, I know.
For those that don't watch golf, last weekend was insane. So it was the Scottish Open, which the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour will put on that tournament before the U.S. Open or before the British Open for guys to come over and kind of get a practice tournament of link style golf. Robbie McIntyre last year lost to Rory in this same tournament by 1 stroke. It took Rory 2 almost impossible birdies on 17 and 18 to win. Yeah. So Robbie Mack comes into the weekend and he was in the final group with Ludwig. At one point was 3 strokes back from
Adam Scott.
And thanks to Sammy, got my guy Robbie Mack at plus 1,400 to win. And right after we placed that bet, he drains a 30-foot birdie putt to get within 2. Gets to a par 5, finds himself in some deep ass fucking grass. Gets relief from a sprinkler head and puts his next shot within 6-7 feet. Taps that in for eagle. Taps it in for eagle. Is tied for first, and then has to birdie the last hole to win, and he does it, and we cash an 1,100 fucking play. So
it was so sick. It was so
honestly, if you find Robbie Mack towards the top of the leaderboard, he's worth a touch because he puts away tournaments.
I agree,
which is crazy.
And that putt he made on 18 was wild. That was not an easy putt.
No. I got to talk about this now because I just have to.
Is this your Rory take?
This is my Rory take. So I will be betting on Rory again. I know this usually doesn't end well for me, and it hasn't in the last 3 years that I've been watching golf. But hear me out. He is playing very good. Aside from the fact that he choked away the U.S. Open, he is hitting the ball so good. It just got to come down to making some putts on the weekend. And so Rory is plus 850 right now. I'm taking him obviously. And I'm expecting him to be towards the top come Saturday and Sunday. And if you try to get him, then his odds are going to be around 200, 300, whatever. So I always think it's a good bet to get him before the tournament. Last time, and this is the last thing I'll say about him because I'm not going to get my hopes too high up. But the last time he choked away a tournament was 2014 at the Masters, and then went on to win the next one by 6 strokes. So that would be pretty fucking cool if Rory can pull that off. I will be invested in him heavily, and excited to see him play again. So
yeah, I definitely I told you before. I told you before the U.S. Open, before you bet him, I was like, I would bet him just the Open. I don't think he's gonna. And you obviously proved me wrong. He was a putt away from at least a playoff. But yeah, I think he's just better in those tournaments than
he was a choke job away from winning the whole thing. Honestly, which is
wild,
so frustrating.
We don't have to go back into it.
No, we don't
have to go back into it. But I think it's gonna be a very fun tournament. I don't imagine it's gonna be. I don't imagine the winner is gonna be like a Brian Harmon last year, where it was like kind of out of nowhere. I think it'll be somebody that like is established and that we know, or like a guy that hasn't won yet, but it's like one of those Max Homa guys.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, do yourself a favor and at least put a little skin in the game, because golf is a lot of fun when you have someone to root for, and especially when you're financially rooting for that person.
Right.
So come Saturday, Sunday, if you see a guy on the leaderboard, go put a little bet on him. You know what I mean? Just go do it. It's fun. There's nothing else to watch right now. There's nothing else. So might as well tune into the British Open. Anyway, in other news, Donald Trump almost got shot in the head.
Dude. I was thinking about, like, can you imagine if they would have got him? Like, what, like, it would just be like right now?
Motherfucker turned his head like that.
It went through his ear.
I couldn't even imagine.
I actually, like, when I think about, like, what would happen if he would have died, like, the feeling of just, like, even going outside, like, would have been weird. Like, it would have been weird. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. I mean, there have been assassinations like this in the past, and
not in my lifetime.
Not in my lifetime.
Yeah,
either.
no, yeah.
So it's not anything that like hasn't been done before. I will say this though: if that happens in 2024 with how much fucking Twitter and the internet play and causing just a ginormous uproar,
yeah,
we could have had a fucking civil war.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to feel like there'd be. I mean, there might have been. Don't get me wrong. I have no idea. But now that it's kind of settled and he's okay, can I tell you the funniest tweet I saw?
Yep.
This hold on. Does this stay on if I go out of it? Do you know?
I think so.
Oh god. Here, I'm just gonna. So, anyways, this guy that used to play Fortnite all the time, he put he said, like, holy crap, Trump just got ripped and he still has full shield. Dude. I lost it.
Insane.
I lost it. Oh my god. There was some really funny tweets afterwards that, like, because, like, in the moment I was like, holy fuck, that was like really
yeah,
bad.
no, if he died there would be no funny tweets, but
No.
at least he lived, so now we get the funny tweets. How quick the 50 Cent Many Men, like that video that was, I think it came within 5 minutes
pinned on every post pretty much on my Instagram,
which was fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was wild. I mean, I was like sitting on the couch and then I got a text from like our buddies and I was like, what? And it is one of those, like, that's one of those things. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when Kobe died? And
yes.
Like, we were like, no, he didn't die. Like, that's how I felt when, like, I was like, he didn't get shot.
I thought it was a joke. Yeah,
I thought
for
it was
real.
a total
like,
joke. Like, I really remembered, like, when Kobe, like, because I think we were all together when Kobe died, and we were like, he at a helicopter crash, he died.
Like, no fucking way.
And then, like, TMZ came out, we were like, oh, yeah, no, he died.
Yeah,
and it was wild.
I think I told you this, and this is gonna sound shitty. I think I'm glad that it happened last weekend and not during the British Open because.
Oh God, yeah.
I was watching. This was after we had bet on Robbie Mack, and so it was on CBS. And CBS cuts to like them talking about how this was the day after. Cuts to them talking about how Donald Trump had been shot or whatever. I was so pissed off that I had to watch it on my TV screen. I told Sam that if this happens during the British Open, then I would shoot Trump myself to get it over with. Like, we cannot. If I wanted to watch that, I would turn on a different news channel, but do not take away a sporting event to show me. It was the day after, so it had nothing to do with, like, they were just talking about whatever the fuck. And I'm like, listen, man, just don't put it on. Like, I'm just trying to watch golf. Like, he didn't die. Like, everything's fine. Like, if it happens during the British Open and Rory's in the lead, I will. FBI, listen up. I will shoot him myself.
Your phone is going to start, like, doing weird stuff.
Totally.
After saying that one. And it's going to happen to me, too, because I'm, like, an accomplice. So
yeah. Well, this is going to go on YouTube, so hopefully this will pass the guideline restrictions. Okay, moving on. For those of you that don't know, Sam is a Texas Longhorn fan, and I have been on this show talking about how I do not have any kind of faith that the Longhorns will come in and automatically just take over the SEC. So, Sam, I wanted to get your take on some of my takes and kind of defend Longhorn Nation and see, what are we looking forward to during the college football season? We got SEC Media Days we can get into.
Yeah. I would actually agree that I don't think Texas is going to take over the SEC by any means. I definitely can see them having like early success, kind of like when didn't Mizzou win the SEC whenever they first, the first year they got in?
We so year 2 and 3 we won the SEC East. People forget, and don't forget about that, people.
But I would say, while I don't think they're gonna, I could see them being how Ole Miss is viewed in the SEC, where you're scared of them every game, but they're probably not going to win. They have a chance of winning the SEC every year, I guess, but most years don't, and they're a scary game. I do just think these next couple of years they're going to be very good. I think Texas is going to be very good next year. I think the two scariest games are at Michigan and home against Georgia. I personally think they split that. I think they go 1-1. I don't know which one they lose, which one they win. I find it hard to believe they're going to go 2-0 on those games. They're more likely to go 0-2 than 2-0 in those games, but I definitely think they split it. Your Florida take is ridiculous. I think they smoke Florida.
Dude, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, people look at the Gators from last year. They look at the schedule that's coming in this year, and they just. I personally think it's a lazy take to say that they're not going to be good. I don't think the record will show, based off of the schedule that they have, will show how good they are. But you got Graham Mertz coming back, who showed signs of being a good quarterback. All you got, they have to fix the defense. Their defense was terrible, but I mean they're gonna be a solid team,
yeah.
and I'm gonna share. So I want to walk through this with you. It's the Longhorn schedule, and I just want to kind of get a game by game.
Okay.
What are your expectations? Kind of like a high
Okay.
like a record prediction before we get into it. What do you think? What, based off of what you see here, we'll go game by game. But before we dive in, what do you think is their expectation record going into this season?
There's 12 total games, or is there 13 total games, or is there 14 total games?
I think there's 12. Yeah, 12.
10-2 is my 10-2 is my guess on the season. I think they could go with one game either way. So I think they could go 11-1. I think they could go 9-3. But I think 10-2 is
respectable.
Here's the thing: it's a lot of it is going to come down, and it's not even their hardest game, but a lot of it's going to come down to the Red River rivalry, in my opinion. Game. I mean, last year that game it doesn't change anything. They still made it to the Final Four, but they would have easily been in the Final Four had they won that game.
Yeah.
That game's just always scary. It doesn't even matter how bad either of the teams are. So I get. Let's just go. Colorado State. That's a win.
Yep.
This is the game I think they lose just because it's at Michigan. UTSA they win, and I actually will predict it's actually a closer game than people think.
UTSA is good. I don't know. I mean,
no,
I remember they had a good
gonna
quarterback.
win. Yeah, they're gonna win, but it's just one of those. Do you remember last year how UT barely beat U of H and they should have smoked U of H? I feel like that's kind of gonna be like that game. LA Monroe is a wax. Mississippi State, I think they wax them. Red River, I think we win, but again, that could go. That's the game where it could be a 9-3 season. I expect them to win that game. Georgia, if the only reason I think they win is because it's at home. If this was in Georgia, I would say that's another loss, an automatic loss. But I think they win that one. Vandy win. Florida win. At Arkansas is actually kind of I think they win. but I think that game's gonna be pretty close.
So I didn't even know this was a rivalry until I started listening. Apparently they had been rivals like before.
I did not.
And I think that I don't know if I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that these two fan bases, for whatever reason, just hate each other.
Interesting. Okay. Probably because they're both delusional, would be my guess.
Yeah, probably.
Kentucky's a win, and then, dude,
this is gonna. Okay, I'll say this.
I'm so sorry. Like, I know, like, there's so many of our friends and like my siblings go to A&M, so like, they are gonna smoke them. Like, I think this game is gonna be like not even remotely close, in my opinion.
Here's where I will kind of argue with you on this.
I think it's 42-14. I think is the final score though.
Jesus. That game is gonna be a fucking madhouse. Like,
oh, there's no disagreement there. I think they're gonna. I mean, it is gonna be. It's gonna be. That environment's a very fun. That one thing I give them, that fan base, is they know how to pack a football stadium and have a good time. I just like. I don't know. I don't see it being a close game because it's not like I feel like people think that this rivalry is like Texas OU, and it's just like not. Like, Texas cares way more about OU than A&M. A&M. Yeah, I think A&M cares way more about Texas than Texas.
I think
cares
I'm excited to see this game, like, and maybe not this year. I do think having that game at the end of the season is going to give A&M a chance to, like, under the new head coach, time to, adjust and get better as the season goes along. I don't know what the line will look like, and a lot of things can play out.
I know, I'm curious. I bet the line is set like I would assume like -2.5. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to see.
I know. Look, realistically, it's not going to be. I know it's not going to be a blowout. I obviously want that. In all reality, it'll probably be like. I think we win handedly. I should say that. I don't think it's going to be necessarily. I think it'll probably be close, like the first couple quarters, and then like second half. I think they
turn it on.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it being like tied going into halftime.
I could see that. I'm pumped as shit for that game. And there's a couple other games too that like I'm super excited for. Like I cannot wait to see that Texas Georgia game. Like that's gonna be.
I think it's gonna be a sweet game. A game I'm really excited for in a totally different conference. But while they're not good, I am like fascinated by the Big Ten with USC in it.
And Oregon and Washington.
Yes, I think Oregon Ohio State's gonna be an awesome game.
Agreed. Yeah, that's going to be. So I think we looked at that on this podcast like a couple weeks ago, and it was like, holy shit! Like Oregon's in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
Ohio State has to go to Oregon to play them.
Yeah, you could like start making an argument about like. Well, actually, I guess it's really not. I mean, people have made this argument forever, but like the Big Ten is not like steps behind the SEC. I mean, they're like pretty close to the SEC. I think they're the closest they've ever been.
Closer than obviously the ACC, Big 12, like all that.
I would say it's just like it's the Big 10 and the SEC. Like in my opinion, like those are the champion will come from either of those.
Agreed.
Conferences. So
I'm excited, dude. This college football season is going to fucking rock.
I know. I'm curious I'm curious what like the Big 10 championship's going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be Oregon, Ohio State, but like I don't know.
Oh, I'll pull that shit up right now.
I don't think Michigan's like I think just Jim Harbaugh leaving and all their guys that got drafted, like they could be good. I don't follow them like at all, so I don't really know. But
God, how many fucking teams are there now in the Big Ten? You got Illinois.
Yeah, I know, because the conference name doesn't really resemble the amount of teams in them anymore now. Because like the Big 12 doesn't have 12 teams, right? Isn't there like?
No, I don't know what they're gonna, because it's like for a long time. It hasn't been like that.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up real quick. But
here's a question: how many losses do you think now you can get away with and still get in the playoff? Like, do you think there's going to be a 3? Like, do you think there could be like a 3-loss Georgia team?
I think there could be. So. I think if there's a 3-loss team in the playoff, it's either going to come from the Big Ten or from
Right, but
Like-
there wouldn't be like a. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, it all comes from strength of schedule. Like, you're unfortunately you're not going to have a 3-loss like Big 12.
No, you're
champ.
not at all.
The Big 12 champ could be 3-loss. I guess if they're the champ, they might just because they're the champ. But
Like, going back to my hot take, say Florida goes 9-3 with that schedule. Like, I think that they should deserve a bid at the playoff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up their schedule and I'll go through it. Because I mean, let's just say this. Let's just say that Florida goes 9-3. So say they beat. I'm gonna pull this up right now. Okay, this is Florida's schedule. So you got Miami. So let's just say you got to beat Miami, obviously.
Right.
Beat Samford. They got A&M. So and for this exercise, let's give them a win at A&M.
Okay. Because it's at home. I'm assuming you're giving them that.
So they go 4-0, 5-0 against UCF.
Okay.
I'll say they lose to Tennessee because I don't know. Tennessee at home is just going to be too good. So they're 5-1.
Beat Kentucky, lose to Georgia.
6-1, 6-2.
Lose to Texas.
So I'm going to say that they have to beat Texas to get they'll have to do that to have a chance.
So see, I think you would because you could the next two games I could see them losing LSU too. I mean LSU is and they can lose. I mean that 3-game stretch, that 4-game stretch suck. That 5-game, their last 5 games suck.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So okay, let's just say, so so for this to work, you're gonna have to have wins over Texas, Ole Miss, Florida State, and LSU. You're gonna have to have 2 of those wins against those teams. I'm gonna give you an automatic loss to Georgia, and I'm gonna give you
Ole Miss. They probably lose to Ole Miss.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I'll go Ole Miss and Georgia. So you're gonna have to beat Tennessee on the road. You're gonna have to beat Florida or Texas on the road. You're gonna have to beat Florida State on the road. If they do that, dude, I think that they should be in the fucking playoff.
They have to have the hardest schedule, I would assume, right?
Yeah, it's insane. It's so hard, especially because the road games that they have. Like you go to Georgia, you go to Tennessee, you go to Texas, you go to Florida State. That is insane. And I can't fucking wait. And the best way to kick off the college football season happened over the weekend. And I don't have this fucking game yet, but
bro,
those of you that have this,
and it looks so fun.
It looks awesome.
Oh my gosh, it looks awesome. Kind of, honestly, it's probably a good thing I don't have it right now because I would not work.
This podcast probably wouldn't even they wouldn't be listening to it. Like I would just be playing that game nonstop. I remember when they had it, dude. When it was in its heyday, like 2013, 2014. We were in high school.
Yeah.
I would go home and play that fucking game.
Yeah,
for
same.
6 hours, like with the dynasty mode, and the road to glory when you got to create your player and go through all the college. Like that shit was so fun. So
it looks so fun.
Just know if you have that game and you're listening to this, first of all, you're a piece of shit because I don't have it. And
shout out Cole Ullman. Cole Ullman pre-ordered it. He texted me and let me know.
He has it. Is it awesome?
Yeah, I bet he's been playing it a bunch. Would be my guess.
God damn it! That's why I haven't.
I have not texted him and asked him. So I just saw this kid that was in Raymond's grade. His name's Chase Lane. He played at A&M and now he plays at Georgia Tech. He's been posting videos of the story of him playing with himself, and I'm like, that's just so wild that
badass.
They can do that now,
Badass.
And it's actually them, I know it's always actually been them, but it's always their numbers on their back, but it's it's so sick.
I agree. Okay, here's a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
Sam Vituli is in a dynasty football league with some of our closest friends, and sometimes
I consistently in bottom tier.
Can sometimes find himself in a situation where he is dealing trading with a certain other member of our dynasty league, and also a good listener of the podcast, Nick Wisniewski. And Sam, I just want to get your I guess your preseason dynasty fantasy football take, maybe some of your top players, and then can you also talk about some of the trade and the process of having to trade with let's just say a Nick Wisniewski?
Okay, so this is the first year that I've been a part of this Dynasty League where I am feeling remotely confident of not being in the toilet bowl. So I expect to be in the top 4. I do with this team. My future's not great. I'm kind of, because I've come in. I think I'm the first guy to come in last twice. My goal is just to not come in last. Like, that's literally been my goal. So right now, what I love about my team. So I've got CJ Stroud. I had the number whatever I got him at last year. I think it was like the 5th, 6th pick. Which was kind of at the time a stretch. Like, people had Anthony Richardson higher than him. Not to say Anthony Richardson fantasy value still isn't extremely high. It totally is. But I didn't even expect CJ to have the year he had last year. So with him and Brock Purdy, I have 2 like young, good quarterbacks that I'm excited about. My running backs are fine. I wouldn't say I'm like excited about them. Oh, is this my team?
Here's your squad.
Okay, so I like Zach Moss now, obviously, because he's going to be the number 1 at the Bengals. Najee Harris, I'm assuming, will probably, this was like his last probably go at it. I don't even know. I mean, he's going to be splitting time with whoever the other guy is.
I'll say with Najee, though, I'm pretty sure this is a contract year for him.
True.
And running backs on a contract year do produce more just because they're trying to get paid. So I like that. And I also think with this new, especially if Russell Wilson is QB1 there, they're going to be more of a heavy run team. And if you have the problem with them last couple of years was they had an absolute liability playing quarterback, no matter who it was. So they didn't have any threat of them throwing the ball. They would just pack the box and just dare them to throw it, and they couldn't.
Right.
So I think Najee will be kind of like a sleeper running back this year. And I like him a lot. So.
And then I just acquired James Cook, so I just traded with Nick. I gave up Alvin Kamara and got James Cook. Thought on that is basically I'm just getting a younger guy who's kind of up and coming in Alvin Kamara. I don't know how many years he has left. I know he's only 28, but the Saints also, it's just like, I don't know. Who knows? And I think James Cook is going to be kind of have not a breakout year, but I think he's going to be more relied on with their lack of talent at the receiver position now. So,
yeah. Well, and it showed last year too. Like they kind of got into running the ball more, and he was awesome. And he's always been good catching the ball out of the backfield. But like, they ran the shit out of him the last like 6 games of the season, and it was awesome. Yeah,
it was sweet. And then I really love my receiving core. So Deebo Samuel, obviously, multifaceted receiver. Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, obviously stack them with CJ Stroud on the team. I think they're both going to Stephon Diggs is obviously a risk. I think he's in the latter half of his career. It kind of feels like it almost feels like when DeAndre Hopkins with the Titans kind of, like you just don't know. But I think with CJ, it'll be interesting. It'll just be interesting because Stephon, Tank Dell, and Nico, and Dalton Schultz, it's like... Yeah,
I'll say this.
It'll just be very interesting.
I think when he was with the Bills, defenses could kind of center their game plan around taking him away.
Right.
But with the Texans, it's going to be harder because you have Tank Dell. You have...
And Joe Mixon out of the backfield, too.
You have Joe Mixon, and you have the other receiver from Michigan. What's his name?
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins, yes. So, yeah, I mean, who are you going to game plan around?
Right.
On defense, anyway.
And then we're getting to the weakest part of my team, which is my tight ends for sure. There's going to need to be some drafting going to go on that position probably, but don't love that. And then my flexes. So Isaiah Pacheco is a great. I mean, he's I kind of either have him at flex or starting running back. Obviously, nothing going wrong with that guy. Darnell Mooney, I think, is going to be very interesting that he got traded to the Falcons. I don't think he's going to be like high production by any means, but I'm just curious to see what goes on with him because he wasn't awful with the Bears. I think he just didn't, Justin Fields throwing to him. So, and then Josh Downs, I think, is going to have a breakout year with the Colts. I think he showed signs of being really good last year. With Anthony Richardson coming back, I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Derek Carr's kind of, we'll see with that guy. Sam Darnold will probably be the starter for the Vikings, would be my assumption going into the first part of the season. And then I've got some guys on the bench that are like, I love having Elijah Mitchell on the bench just in case.
Yeah. That's always, I mean, I feel like the 49ers go through running backs. I mean, granted, I think Christian McCaffrey was healthy though majority of the year last year, right?
Right. So my thing with Elijah Mitchell is before Christian McCaffrey, he was a very good running back. Like it wasn't like they were it wasn't like they were bad at the position. They just had the opportunity to go get the best running back in the game. So, but anyways, yeah, I there's flaws in the team. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely don't think it's a last place team. I'll go ahead and throw that out there. So,
and we got some picks too. We got a first round. We got a couple fourths, 2 fifths.
Yeah, I mean that's where
all from me. Wow.
Yeah, we did. I don't even remember what. I don't even remember how I got those.
I remember I had the 107, and I traded you, I think the 107 for your first round and a fourth.
In 2025, like that's right.
Correct.
That's right.
So, but anyway, yeah. So, thank you for. Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure because I know.
Well,
a lot of people.
Here's what needs to be stated. Actually, is last year the disrespect that you received going into last year in our Dynasty League. For those who also don't know, Luke took over from another one of our friends who left the league, and that guy was the last place guy. So Luke was inheriting the last place team, and we have a group chat, and there was some over-under win set, and Luke, I believe, you and myself were 1.5.
1.5 wins over-under. That's what it was.
Luke made it to the playoffs. So
I made it to the championship game.
Yes, exactly. So, all those fantasy football gurus.
We can show the squad. I'll just run through this real quick because people don't really probably give a fuck about my fantasy team.
But we have some avid listeners who really do care.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure Nick is like listening to this right now and about to text me some ridiculous fucking trade request. Had to trade for Jared Goff. Luckily had Aaron Rodgers on the roster, but was an absolute flop last year, a la Achilles tear after the second pass of the season. Had to trade away one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Why am I drawing a blank? Name.
Lamar Jackson.
Got the 101 last year, drafted Bijan. Kyron Williams was a very nice surprise last year. He was fucking
he was
awesome.
Not bad.
Also 20-something years old. 23 years old, I think.
Young guy.
Yeah, 23. DJ Moore, George Pickens, Jacoby Myers. I think my tight ends are solid. TJ, Sam Laporta, Gabe Davis. I will be looking.
It'll be interesting. Gabe Davis with the Jags. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll be in the receiver market, a la trades, a la drafting. So that's gonna happen. Baker Mayfield was an awesome surprise for me last year.
Yep.
He was on the roster, but kind of looked at as like an afterthought. So glad he got a contract done. I can keep him on the roster for a little bit longer. I just love having Jameis Winston as like a locker room guy for my fantasy team.
Yeah.
He won't play a lot, but really gets the rest of the guys, motivated to come out and win.
Right.
He gives the team a good pregame speech.
Oh no!
Before every weekend.
Drew Lock. Yikes.
Yeah, family ties. I gotta
Family
keep my
ties.
boy. I gotta keep my boy on the roster. And also, so here's the reason I picked him up. So
he could definitely be the starter. He could definitely be the starter.
He is now with the Giants. I have been watching. Have you been watching the HBO?
That organization is run like a freaking bunch of idiots.
I don't know. I don't even think they know if Daniel Jones will be healthy for week 1. So I picked up Drew. Funny story, actually, kind of like, I don't know if everybody knows this, but so Drew's dad, Andy, played offensive line for the New York Giants. I don't know, 20-something years ago. Was also a Mizzou football player. But made it to the preseason and got cut like in the last round of cuts. So when Drew was coming out for the NFL draft, like the Giants were really invested or like interested in drafting Drew. Drew had thought he was going to be taken first round to the New York Giants, who they ultimately ended up taking Daniel Jones. And I remember like they were pretty pissed about it. Like they thought that he was going to go to the Giants. I don't even know how much communication there was. It seemed to me, from what I know, I don't talk to Drew a lot, but I think they had a high expectation of them going to the Giants, so it's cool now to see him there and have a chance to play. I mean, Daniel Jones could be healthy and also could suck too. So they have solid. Zach Wilson. I mean, just like
that quarterback room is just sad.
Yeah. So
Kareem Hunt, no team.
Kareem Hunt, no team. I just like him because we don't have kickers in this league, but if we needed to have one, Kareem Hunt is my designated kicker.
There you go.
Some experience with Tyler Lockett, and a couple other guys down here. So I got a couple picks this year in the draft that I'll be excited to get to once we start the drafting process. But yeah, that's a good. That's the first fantasy football talk of the year so far. I think we'll dive into that some more. As the year goes on. But anyway, Sammy, it was a pleasure having you on, bud.
Hey, thanks for having me. That was fun.
Of course, dude. What we usually do before we end the show, we the only segment that we kind of do over and over again is the what's on the card.
Right.
So I don't know if you have any bets for the people listening, but if you do, go ahead. If not, I can go ahead and share mine real quick.
I could share my future bet I placed that I sent you.
Okay.
Picking all the division winners. Do you happen to have that in your text message? Because I don't want to.
I have it right here. I have it right here. Sam has an 8-pick parlay for the. It's a future pick for all of the conference winners in the NFL.
Division winners.
So division winners. Excuse me. So Sam has it's $5 to win $1,387.18. And these division winners Sam has are the Baltimore Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, Atlanta Falcons, the New York Jets, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions, and the Houston Texans. So,
look, I know the Jets pick is out there. I just, from all the hate he's gotten, I just see Aaron Rodgers being like, screw all you guys.
Someone's got to win that division, dude. I mean, the Bills are going to be good.
The Bills will probably win it, but
they still got a good defense. I mean, the Bills can't beat the Jets. Like, they haven't been able to do it without Aaron Rodgers.
That's my one pick. Well, I should say that pick and my NFC East pick is like the Eagles. I think just have another their offseason was wild. I think them getting Saquon is huge.
Agreed.
And I think the Dallas Cowboys are just going to suck. So,
Cowboys fans crack me up. Shout out Joel if you're listening.
Well,
yep. All right. Well, I'll go through mine. Obviously, I have Rory. I'm taking him to win before the tournament at plus 850.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to also take. There's a guy, Sam, that I think a lot of people are forgetting, and he, in the last 2 British Opens, has either played in the penultimate group, which is the second to last group going out, or the final group last year with Brian Harmon. And he is currently plus 550 to finish in the top 10. Has had a couple really good weeks, and people are forgetting about this guy. But Cam Young,
he's just not going to finish. He's just not going to finish.
He's not going to win. He is not going to win.
But you have him top 10?
I like him top 10 at plus 550.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
You can also take him top 20 at plus 220 right now. So those are great. Like this
That's
guy,
good.
for some reason, he can play links golf. Right. I don't understand why. He will not win. Do not take him to win the tournament because he just won't. He will not win. He will have a mental shutdown and crumble. Last year, he was the only player that was like kind of close to Brian Harmon and played in the final group with Brian Harmon. And I think he shot like a 2 over and didn't even come close. So, and then my last guy, and a lot of people have not heard of this guy. And I can't stand this guy, honestly. But with the British Open, you're going to be dealing some weather. You're going to be dealing with some rain. This guy plays golf with 2 gloves.
Aaron Wright.
Not 1, but 2. Also has iron covers to protect his irons from getting too wet. So I think people are forecasting this this tournament to be a little rainy, a little windy. You can get Aaron Wright right now plus 500 for a top 10 finish. Also has been playing just really good golf. So
he's
if you like,
he's just a dweeb.
If you like, I can't stand, like, has no vibes, no aura, like can't
black shoes, like
terrible. Like listen, this is a
curled brim. curled brim.
This is a set it and forget it bet. Do not watch him at all. Just like make the bet and then just pray to God that he makes the top 10. He plays really good golf. I can't stand watching him. But yeah, 2 gloves, iron covers. Really just has no swag on the golf course, but can play some golf. And I think people were going to be, complaining about having to change gloves 17 times during the tournament. But Aaron Rai will have 2 of them at all times. So.
I have a fun live bet you could take right now. If there's a bet you could do on Paul Skeens throwing a no-hitter while he's pitching in the All-Star game, I would place it.
Hell yeah.
He's so gross. And Livy Dunn, I think, is in the crowd, and that's his girlfriend, and she's cute.
Hot.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, tune in if you're listening to this tomorrow and Paul Skeens end up throwing a no-hitter in the All-Star game, then just give yourself a round of applause for
pat on the back.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Sam, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't have Cheese here to tell me to cut that shit out or to fade the music. So if you don't mind,
I'm just gonna say, hey, shout out to the boys. Hey, we made it.
We did make it. Anyway,
hey, cut that shit, bro.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know what. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
There it is. We are going to do a mistake, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Ready? Go.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do the video. Sting video.
What is? I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with I can't do it. We'll do it live.
No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.